Austin, Missouri. No, Texas. They beat LSU.
All right. Okay, how's everybody? Okay.
You guys gonna wear those throwbacks to me, or is that a one-time deal? Throwback to me?
We hadn't decided on that one yet. I'm sure they'll voice their opinion to me about it, but but now we're in, I think, week the 10, 11? 11th week of, there was 2 games each week. I mean, so it's so we finished. It seemed like we're just getting ready for El Paso, and now you're talking about the last week of the regular season. And obviously you want to continue to play good basketball, and we want to string some games together where our guys can play at a high level, confident, offensively, defensively, be efficient. And I think I just see more guys now having a much better understanding of their roles, and and you could just see it on display in the Ole Miss game. I thought it was a game that went back and forth against a very good basketball team, and our guys, they hung in there and talked about making plays in games that are going to in SEC play. It's a thin line between winning and losing, and so it was good to see us actually make plays defensively, offensively, and made some big free throws. Dan made a couple of big free throws going down the stretch. So hopefully we can continue to take that mindset into playing against the Vanderbilt team that we played early in the year, and we made a shot there at the end and had a defensive stop there to win here. It's a team. Obviously, space is really, really important in their offensive scheme. Shoot a lot of threes. They get to the basket. We got to do a really good job of finding the shooters and forcing them off the line at the same time, keep them out the paint and keep them off the free throw line. So, and then on the offensive end, we've got to continue to execute offensively. Dan had a big game against them. We thought we had an advantage, and we took advantage of getting the ball into him inside, and he was able to make some plays. But we're gonna have to make some shots as well as be good defensively for 40 minutes, and that's got to be the key for 40 minutes.
Wow, it's an upset. Just with Vanderbilt's ability to shoot the three and the problems Auburn gave you, just kind of what's the concern about three-point defense for this game?
I think it's got to be going in. It's got to be the primary goal is to keep them off the line. I think they also do a good job of getting to the hole and spacing the floor and screen and roll and cutting to the basket. We got to be with the shooters, and we got to force them off the line. We did a pretty good job here. I thought there in the second half, I thought we lost guys. So it's a team we played, and they're familiar with us, and we're in them. But we lost some guys early on, like I think Saban Lee made some shots, Toya made some shots where we left them wide open. We had some broke-down assignments. So we can't afford to have none of that. So our guys got to be connected on defense. And I believe we really are doing a much better job defensively now than we were then. We're talking, communicating, switching with a purpose if we're going to switch. And again, make them take tough shots, and we got to come up with the rebound.
Yeah, Mike, I know you said the other day you still consider Mason a starter, and he played starters minutes, but he was just saying the first game he didn't start, he felt a little down just because he started all the games before that. How do you think he's adjusted to that? And just what have you thought of his season overall? Because he's had some 30-point games, he's had some 1-for-10 games, but yeah, obviously it's a big adjustment for a guy coming from junior college ball.
I think you said it right there. Is the inconsistencies is typical of someone that just kind of getting into major college basketball, especially when you got to play with the sense of urgency at this level. The teams that we're playing against, and they're scouting, against him. I think he's done well. I think he's done a good job, and sometimes guys put a lot of pressure on themselves, and I could just sit here and think about the guys I've had. Dusty Hannes, I thought he came in and put a lot of pressure on himself, and then we brought him off the bench, and I thought that kind of eased some things for him. Daryl Macon, he's both of those guys 1,000-point scorers. It kind of eased it, I thought, and then they were even more efficient, effective coming off the bench. So whether they start or not, I think he's had an opportunity to do that, and he may be starting next year. I don't know. But he was really efficient the other night. I thought that was one of his better basketball games the other night. I think he played 29 minutes, 22 points, and high field goal percentage, and I thought he played the game the right way.
Did you get a sense he was a little down the first time he didn't start, and now he's adjusted to it, or?
Did I? What now?
Did you get a little sense that I think the first game, the A&M game, he didn't play real well off the bench?
He didn't respond.
Yeah, have you got a sense that he's kind of adjusted to it and figured it out? And
We'll see. We'll see. He did that game, so we'll see the next game. I think I think he's understanding what his role is for our basketball team. I mean, whether he starts or not, he's a guy that can actually score for us. So and you also see him now making nice passes. I think he gave Dan a very nice alley-oop pass and a couple other passes. So again, now he gets a chance to play the game, the way we envision him playing.
For that, having Gabe and Desi in that starting lineup, what have you liked out of that? And again, is that something you might continue down the road?
I'll tell you what, I watched the game and I just saw something right there at the end. When Gabe made that stop, when he got that ball, I mean, just the passion, the grit, the enthusiasm, just making that kind of play. And obviously he made other plays in the game. Same way with Desi. We get a 10-second count, man. I mean, it's like to the fan, let's go. And that, to me, that's contagious. When you can start getting that energy, that kind of enthusiasm, that passion. And I think that's something that has been missing. That's that blue collarness, I call it. They play to win. And so to me, it was good to see that, and I think that's what they bring to the table. I really do, and then I think it just spearheads into our team. You can see it with Daniel. You can see it with Jalen Harris. I think that's the fastest, the quickest I've seen Jalen play in a while. I thought he played with a lot of energy, and he was rested going down the stretch. So, again, we're getting guys to understand their roles, and what that does now, it lets those guys get some breathers. When Reggie comes in and gives us some good minutes, when Adriel comes in and gives us good minutes. Now, I think we're a little fresher, hopefully, going down the stretch.
Making that change, that Desi and Gabe stuck out to you because of that blue-collar mentality and what they've been able to do when they've been on the court?
I just think you got to have balance. There's some white-collar guys and some blue-collar guys. Then some guys can do both. I like the guys who can do both, but at the same time, I think where our team is right now, I think we needed that.
Mike, you look at Vandy, and they took Tennessee to overtime. They played you guys right down to the wire. Rick Barnes said today on the SEC call, "Hey, I think they're going to beat somebody," and there's only two games left, and you're one of them. How much do you worry that Vandy's bound to break through and beat somebody, and do you worry about pressure on your guys because nobody wants to be the team that loses to the team that hadn't won any SEC games?
Well, I'm more interested in what we're doing in terms of how we're playing and getting prepared for a team we played early in the year, and knowing that it went down to the wire. And so how do we, for the most part, how do we prepare and get to play better than we played them the last time? And so that's the most important thing to me. I know they've had some tough losses, but at the same time, Bryce, Drew has those kids still playing and still believing. And so we're going to have our work cut out for us as we go over there and play against Vandy. And so, I know for a fact, whenever you go somewhere in this league here, man, you got to come with it. You got to play. So that's going to be our mindset going in there.
2 games, your team's really stopped turning the ball over. What's been the biggest key to that compared to when they were in the losing?
It's something we addressed. I think we addressed it, and live ball turnovers, and that's what's been really hurting us. And it's like they took place in the second half, and even in the Vanderbilt game, we had a bunch of live ball turnovers. We were up 9-10 points in this game, and all of a sudden we had some live ball turnovers that led to easy opportunity for them or wide open shots. So I think it's something that we've talked about and really worked on, really valuing the basketball. My team's always valued the basketball. But with a young team, that's the first thing that goes, the ball security. So I think it's just something that's bringing attention to it, and our guys are doing a much better job of making the right plays, the right decision with the basketball, and not trying to do it individual. I think a lot of it came because it was sometimes when adversity takes place on the floor, you revert back to who you are. And some of those guys were trying to play hero ball, trying to do it themselves. And so now, we had 20 assists, I think, in the game the other night. And that's, to me, is how the game should go. You share the basketball, hit the open guy, pass it up for maybe a very good shot for a great shot. And I think we're doing that now.
Mike Mason Jones said that he'd heard that communication was hard at Vanderbilt. What kind of adjustments do you make getting ready to have a team play there?
Oh, I said on my press conference, some of them probably welcome that, so they don't have to listen to me, I guess. But I think through hand signals or I think you got to trust the guys out there on the floor. Those players now, they played enough games now where they know what the game plan is, and now obviously they got to go out and execute it. So, but you got to have some, you got to have a head out there on the floor. So whether it be Jalen, whether it be Desi, whether it be Keyshawn, whether it be Mason, whether it be Daniel Adrio, I think they got to be out there facilitating all that. Of course, now you can go up the sideline a little bit, and but at the same time, they got to go out and play the game. The court is still 94 feet, not 50, so the basket is still 10 feet high. So they got to go out and play the game and play it to the best of their abilities.
Keyshawn and Isaiah doing? They got banged up a little bit Saturday.
Yeah, I just saw Keyshawn, and he was okay. He said, "I'm okay, Coach." I'm sure he probably had some treatment yesterday. Isaiah, I hadn't seen him today, so I don't know. No one has sent me a notice, so hopefully he got a little treatment yesterday as well. So I'm not sure exactly where those guys are right
now. Hey, Mike, you obviously played well at Kentucky, didn't get the win, but played well. Then you played well and beat a good Ole Miss team. After the losing streak, how do you feel like you guys are playing now, and what kind of momentum or confidence or whatever do you feel like you're taking into Vanderbilt?
I think our guys are, playing with a lot of confidence. Again, I think, guys are they're playing for each other. I think early on, I think coming from where they came, the high schools, prep schools, wherever they came from, sometimes they play for themselves. But I think now they're starting to trust what we're doing, and they're playing for each other, and it just seems like they're playing with a little bit more sense of urgency. They're playing defense, they're talking on defense, and now we're hopefully being a lot more efficient offensively. I still think we got some really good basketball in us. I really, really do. We're always talking about, playing 25 minutes or 30 minutes of really good basketball. And we've played some really good teams and played some really tough places. And so to see where we are right now, hopefully this is when it all kind of comes together, where we start clicking on those cylinders. The guys that are starting out playing well, the guys coming off the bench are giving us great minutes. And so now you get that team with a little more depth, a little more understanding of what we want to do. I think that's the biggest key is they've gained experience through all out this season. So now let's put it on display.
For 10th, and people might say, well, so what? But it's pretty significant because whoever's 11th has to play Wednesday. Whoever gets 10th or higher doesn't have to. How big is that? You talk about playing for something. How big is that to be playing to make sure you don't have to play on Wednesday?
Well, we've been, I guess, the last couple of years, I don't know what it is, but we've had a chance to get to the semis, and that's a new season when you talk about going to the tournament. And hopefully our team is, I said playing some of his best basketball, but hopefully we're built for a tournament, whether it be on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. We just want to play, and because that time is one game, it's a one-game season. So whether you play Wednesday, Thursday, right now we're playing for the seeding part of it, to see where we're going to be. So Vanderbilt, who's next up? That's who we're thinking about right now.
You played 5 one-point games, a lot of close games, but 5 one-point games. That's the most Orange Hill's had in a long time. What's that been like with the young team?
What it's been like?
Yeah.
It's been more than interesting. Let me put it that way. It's I tell you what, it's some great teaching moments. I think that's what it's been. It's been it tells me that our guys are they're fighting, they're scratching, they're clawing, and we may not have all the answers. We hadn't made all the right plays, but it's not because they weren't trying to. And I think Jalen Harris said it best. I've been in these situations for so many games, and yet Coach stayed with me and trust me, and that's the learning process. It's a process I know you guys write about it, but people don't want to talk about it. But you got to go through it. That's the growing pain, and so it's going to pay off this year. It's going to pay off in years to come, and so as long as they learn from it. And but I think just being in that moment, being in those moments, I think you learn a little more about yourself. And I think that's what is taking place with our team. So if we're ever in those situations again, we know what to do. We may not do it, but we know what to do.
There's a tweet, basketball Twitter account, tweeted out TJ's going to some coaching consortium deal, I guess, at the coaches convention. Did you know about that or what?
Boy, you got one on me, Bob.
Okay. You got to read the Twitter account.
Go home.
I don't know who tweets that out. I don't know who does that. That's